Hey everyone, Karchermakes here, and today we're going to talk about the finale of the Westknits Surprise Sock Along Color Popportunity Socks. This week was clue 4, the last clue, and I finished sock 1, and I have some thoughts that we're going to talk about at the end here. But before that, here's some progress of finishing off the sole of the sock and the toe of the sock. But meet me back here and we're gonna talk about it. I have thoughts. So my mini skeins, my little cakes that I wound on the Swift have turned into a mess. So I'm just winding them into little balls, make them a little neater so that we can start our final clue here. Stay tuned. Today's the day for the final clue, y'all. Clue number 4 of the Color Popportunity socks for the Westknits Surprise Sock Along. And I can't believe we're here already. It feels like the time has flown by. So in this clue, we're gonna wrap up our loose ends, no pun intended, and finish our sock. So where I left you last, we have basically the whole sock here, right? Except for the foot and the bottom of the foot and the toe. We have our cuff, we have our leg, we have our brioche heel, and we have the top of the foot, aka the instep. I couldn't think of that in the last video, the instep. So I did a quick scan of the pattern, and basically everything we thought that would happen is going to happen. So we're going to build a gusset here. We're going to do the bottom of the foot, and then we'll add our toe. Now, all of that sounds very sort of normal for a sock, but I have no doubt that there's going to be even some surprises in these sections. So let's get to it. Let's finish our sock. So similar to the last clue where I needed my working needle to be on the opposite side, we have that situation here with the heel. So what Stephen is telling us to do here is to pick up stitches along the heel, which is expected. And you can see though my working needle is on this side and not this side. So what I'm gonna do, and like I put the note in the last video, I thought about it after the fact. I could have just used the other end of my needle to reposition. So I'm just gonna reposition these so that my working needle is now on this side, and then we can go ahead and pick up all of these stitches and start building our gusset. And there we go. Now my working needle's on this end and I can continue along with the gusset. So because of the fiddliness of trying to manage this magic loop with this many stitches that I've picked up from the heel and we're starting the gusset, what I'm gonna do is exactly what Stephen's doing in the video here. I'm just gonna use a double pointed needle to use as my working needle, just because, again, like, these are a lot of stitches, and then, you know, it's quite fiddly to pick up these salvage stitches on the back side, and it doesn't help that I have all of these ends that need to be woven in eventually. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move forward that way. So here we have our bottom of the foot connected like magic to the rest of the sock. So now all we need to do is follow our pattern for the toe, and we're going to be done. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of footage of me working on clue 4 of the sock. That's where, again, we finished the sole, we finished the toe. Now let's see the finale, the finished object. I only have one done so far. The second one is in progress, but here we are with the color Popportunity sock. So like I mentioned, clue 4, we took care of this part. So what he had us do is pick up all these stitches as we were working decreases to basically fill in that gusset area. And we added the toe. So what do we think? What do we think? So first off, I will talk about what I like about this sock and the experience. So first of all, I am somebody who loves surprises, as long as they're not work surprises. I don't like surprises at work, but with stuff like this, I love surprises. I like to anticipate things, and I can tell you when I started this sock, I did not anticipate any of this at all. So there's that. But I really like the process of making this sock. It was a very unique construction, like I covered in a lot of the other videos. There was some sections knitted flat, which is really interesting for a sock. We did these welts, there was some brioche. It had a little bit of everything, some lace with the eyelets, had a little bit of everything for everyone. So I love the colors that I chose. I'm so excited with how this turned out and how they look together. And then I also like that I got to practice my brioche, even though right there in the heel there was a mistake. I did not make the same mistake in the second sock, and the second sock does look better. There's no brioche mistakes. So I learned, which is what you need to do, right? When you make mistakes, learn from them. So I also liked that the clues were just enough to get done in a week and still have some extra time left over to work on the second sock. I think it was a good amount of timing. It was a good amount of work per clue. One of the things that I struggle with in his shawl knit-alongs that happen in the fall is that a lot of the clues are so big that I just can't keep up with it. So this was just the right amount that, we could keep up with it and not get too far behind, at least on one sock. So there's that. I did try this on. I do like the fit, but I'm gonna now transition into what I don't like about this sock. And I know I just said that it fits nicely, and it does. Like knitting this part, especially the leg flat and then creating the tube from that perspective, I was surprised that it fit as well as it did. That was really unexpected. So I do like the fit. However, these welts, and I'm gonna attempt to show this on here, they stick out quite a bit, like maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so. And I'm not sure how well that's gonna play in a higher shoe, like a bootie or a boot, because it is quite thick. It's quite thick. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to wear these with boots at all. But in any case, like that's kind of a minor gripe on my part. The other thing that I don't want to say I don't like, but I wish was different, is that for all of this unique construction, once we got to the toe, it's just like a regular toe. I do the same toe on basically all of my socks. I think it's called a wedge toe, where you decrease on both sides. I really wanted something a little kind of jazzier, a little bit of more razzle-dazzle in the toe, but it's a plain toe. So that was sort of disappointing. Not the end of the world, but I would have expected, with this unique construction that we did, to do something a little more exciting here. Kind of the same thing with the cuff. And although he did do his cuff a little differently in the pattern with the color placement, I changed it up slightly. It's a 2x2 rib sock. or cuff. I would have expected something maybe a little bit more, I don't know, exciting or, you know, jazzier, if you will. So those were kind of my great points, I guess. Would I recommend this sock pattern? And my answer is maybe. If you are somebody who just likes to make vanilla socks and crank them out in a couple days or a week, and just that's your jam, you are probably not going to love this process. It had so many unique pieces to the construction that I'm not sure everyone is going to love making that. And some of the places it did get quite fiddly, especially with picking up for clue 4 in the gusset area. It got very fiddly. So I don't know if, you know, if you don't want to try some new construction, try new techniques, probably not the sock for you. In addition, I probably would not recommend this to a beginner sock knitter. If you've never knit a sock before, and not to gatekeep, right? But maybe I would suggest try a vanilla sock first. Get really familiar with the pieces of the sock architecture, if you will. The cuff, the leg, the heel, the sole, the toe. Get really familiar with what works for you in terms of fit, and then maybe you can progress into something a little bit more unique like this sock. So if you've never knit a sock before, maybe this is not one you want to start with. You may have some fit issues there. But aside from that, I mean, I really liked it. I really liked the experience. I think that Stephen West does a really good job with his just pattern writing skills, how clearly he lays out the instructions in the pattern, the fact that he accompanies videos with every mystery knit along is really helpful too, just because then you don't have to go look up a separate video on, hey, how do I do the brioche knit stitch again? I don't remember. Everything's there that you need to succeed. So all that to say, I love these. I hope if you made them, you love them too. And if you didn't participate in the mystery knit along and you want to make them, I mean, it's a great pattern. Again, very clear, very easy to understand, and they look kind of awesome. So yeah, think about it, try it. I recommend. So hopefully you enjoyed following this series. This was a little out of my comfort zone in terms of content making. Normally I just sit down and talk about things I have in progress and what I've made, and this was a little bit of a different type of series that I did. And look, I know that Stephen West's designs are not for everyone. We all have different aesthetic tastes, and his tend to be on the more flashy side. And look, that's not everybody's cup of tea. I completely get that. So if it's not your cup of tea and you still watch this, please know I appreciate that. And, you know, if, again, it's not your cup of tea, good news is we're returning to regularly scheduled programming after this. So the next video will be more of a project update on some things that I finished and some things that I have in progress, as well as something that I've been thinking about wanting to make and I may need your advice on. So stay tuned for that. So if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more Yarny content, and until next time, happy socking.